Here the directions read, the number line above extends to the left in the negative direction and to the right in the positive direction such that B is always greater than A, and we're asked to find the distance between A and B in three different situations. So let's look at the first situation where A equals -3 and B equals 7. To find the distance between these two locations, we always want to subtract the smaller number from the larger number, or in other words, find the difference between the two numbers. So in this case we're going to write 7 minus -3. And to solve for this, we have to use the rule that when you subtract a negative number, it's the same thing as adding. So instead of 7 minus -3, we will rewrite it as 7 plus 3. And then we see that the distance between A and B equals 10. Another way to look at this is to visualize the number line. And let's put -3 right here and 7 up here. And 0 will be right in the middle somewhere. Okay, so what we're going to be, when we find the distance, we're actually finding the distance from 0 to -3 and the distance from 0 to 7 and adding them together to get the total distance from -3 to -7. So as you can see here, the distance from 0 to 7 is 7, and the distance from 0 to -3 is 0, or 3, sorry. So the total distance is 10. So let's look at number 2. A equals -8 and B equals -1. We'll take our larger number, in this case which is -1, and subtract from it the smaller number, -8. -8 is smaller because it's a larger negative value, so it's actually smaller than -1. And we'll rewrite this. Since we have minus a negative number, we're going to rewrite it as plus 8. And -1 plus 8 simplifies to 7. And to check, the reason I know it equals 7 is because remember that the addition rule, it doesn't matter if you add 8 to -1 or -1 to 8. So actually we could rewrite this. Instead of -1 plus 8, we could rewrite that in a different order, since it doesn't matter what order you add numbers in, to 8 plus -1. And from here, the rule with adding a negative number is that you just subtract. So we could rewrite that as 8 minus 1, which equals 7. So I'll just list a table here. So if you have minus a negative number, that becomes plus the number. If you have minus a positive number, that becomes minus. If you have plus negative number, that'll become minus. And if you have plus a positive number, that is plus. And if you remember your multiplication rules with negatives and positives, this follows that rule pretty much, because what you're doing here is distributing that negative sign into the parentheses. And if that confuses you, just stick with the chart and memorize it for now. Okay, so let's look at the last one, number 3. A equals 4 and B equals 9. So we'll start with the larger number and find the difference. So 9 minus 4. And this one's pretty straightforward. M equals 5. So there are your 3 solutions.